How I closed 161 local businesses for $297 a month. Now, copy my exact strategy. And guys, just so you know I'm not full of shit, here is my Stripe dashboard. We're currently sitting at $47,000 in MRR, meaning monthly reoccurring revenue. And again, this is literally from local businesses paying us every single month for a simple website. And again, I can go ahead and refresh this page as many times as necessary. I'll go ahead and keep talking while I do that. Once again, refresh it again, just so you guys know I'm not completely full of crap. Now, this is essentially going to be the exact blueprint that I've personally used to sell a simple one-page website to 161 local businesses that essentially don't cancel month on end, and that has got me to $48,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Now, guys, as usual, if you want to go ahead and join my public Discord server, that's discord.gg/mastermind. Again, it's full of a bunch of other people trying to do the same business model, and it's honestly just a super cool networking environment to meet like-minded individuals. And now, guys, for the big question, what am I actually selling? I know the majority of you guys are going to be insanely confused on what this business model even is, but essentially what we're selling is a simple website hosted on Framer with features that help local businesses. And let me give you a really quick example of one of the websites we actually sell. So for example, this is Framer, again, not sponsored, but we've essentially used it to scale to this point. And it's essentially a drag and drop website system. Like for example, here's one of the handyman plumbing websites we actually use. For example, you have your little contact us form, which is of course one of the features we offer to local businesses since the majority of them don't have this feature. We obviously offer the high quality looking site. I mean, this website looks absolutely amazing. You obviously have FAQs, you have a really nice layout, and honestly a really nice design as a whole. And again, compared to the average website that local businesses have, this is a night and day difference, and it's honestly one of the biggest differentiators. You see a lot of these guys trying to sell shitty AI templates to these websites using Lovable and stuff like that. Yeah, it's super cool. It's kind of interesting, but again, they look like shit. They really don't look all that special. Whereas when you actually offer something that's fully high quality and genuinely looks amazing, you are so much more likely to actually be able to sign these clients on. We also obviously offer the domain hosting if the companies we're working with don't actually have websites, and I'll talk a little bit more into this later. But again, this is one of the best ways we've kind of been able to scale to this point and make it so companies and these businesses that are paying us every month don't actually quit every single month. They actually stay with us, and we have a 5% churn rate, meaning only 5% of our clients every single month are actually canceling, which by the way, the industry norm is like 20 to 30%. And the reason why we're able to get this low of a churn rate is because we actually own the domain for the majority of the companies we work with. And because we own it, it makes it a little bit easier to actually keep them on retainer. And then of course, one of the final things we're actually offering on an agency basis is website hosting. Now, if you guys don't already know, Framer actually hosts the website directly for you. You can literally make updates in the website, click on publish, you can go on settings and fully just connect your own custom domain. And again, not sponsored at all. I'm just kind of sharing what I've personally done. And again, this is one of the other offers we kind of do to these local businesses. Now, what are the actual deliverables? How are we actually selling this to those companies? What are they actually getting from us? Now, it's pretty simple, and I'm going to walk you through the exact way we've done this. Now, Framer actually has something called Framer plugins. Now, when you buy a Framer template or when you build your website on Framer, which again requires no coding experience, it's literally a drag and drop system. There's essentially a Framer plugin system. Now, what you can do here, and this is what we've kind of done, is we've got SMS follow-up forms. So similar to what you guys just saw before with the little form up here where they can kind of put in their information, Framer actually has a template. For example, if we just look up email, you have a contact form plugin right here that you can literally just drag and drop into your website template. And again, reuse that website template over and over and over again to every single local business and simply change the name and change the logos every single time. And there's a ton of other plugins that we also use. You know, you have newsletters, you've got an AI chatting system, which we also use, obviously email follow-ups and SEO optimization. So for example, we can literally, and this is how crazy it is, look up SEO, and there's a ton of like SEO optimizing kind of plugins you can directly put into your website and offer that as an add-on to these local businesses. Now guys, keep in mind how low the barrier to entry for this is. Like I can quite literally look up plumbing near me. So your first thing is obviously identifying a sub niche. Now I personally went with plumbing and carpentry, but again, there's so many different ones. There's roofing, there's QVC, there's a bunch of different kind of removalist companies. And for example, you would just check in this little plumbing near me section, go to Google and literally just look for the people that don't have websites. So for example, this company here, Russo Brothers, they don't have a website. So I'd simply call up the number and try and sell them this service. And again, even if they do have a website, if you just find people that have horrible websites, like for example, this guy, Tap and Flow Plumbing, only 7 Google reviews, which is once again another really, really good sign, and literally just a fully disgusting website with a horrible contact us page. Compare that to our style, and it is a night and day difference, and so obvious why we're able to sell this in such a high quantity to these businesses. Now guys, really quick, if you want to get direct access to all of my templates, one-on-one contact with me, my call recordings, my website designs, every single thing, check out startofferingai.com. It's my brand new one-on-one mentorship program that just opened up. And again, guys, this is the craziest part. If you don't have at least 20 clients at $197 a month, by the end of the 90-day program, you get a complete refund. That's how confident I am in my ability to grow your agency. Now let's get back into the video. Now, your biggest question is probably, well, yeah, that's sick and all. I figured out how to make a Framer website, which again, you can literally go to the template section. So look up like Framer templates, or look up like agency templates, which for example would be like plumbing and stuff like that. You can find any template on here, literally press copy template for completely free. You're on this little template design page. You can edit everything. You can update the forms, you can update the emails, you can redesign every single image that you want to update. Like for example, if I wanted to change this plumbing guy to, let's say, a roofing guy, I will literally look up roofing company. I'd grab a completely stock image, but obviously in the case of you working with local businesses, you'd want to kind of get their image from their direct website or from their portfolio, and then you'd essentially reuse that and cater it to their site. But for example, I just downloaded that example, roofing image, so I can go ahead and simply replace this carpentry one with that. Go ahead and click on publish, give it a few seconds, and just like that, we've essentially remade that specific template, but of course for this design. So it's honestly never been easier in terms of barrier to entry. Now guys, this is honestly probably the biggest question you're asking, and that's, okay, that's cool and all. I know how to make the Framer site, I know how to do this, but how do you actually find clientele? And how do you actually cold call and outreach to these local businesses? Now, it is so easy. The first thing is, of course, cold calling. Now, this is the bread and butter. This is obviously where we've had the most success, and that would be, as I said before, finding a sub niche, which for example could be roofing, it could be plumbing, it could be QVC. Let's just say it was roofing. I'd literally just look up roofing near me. Now, as I said to you guys, I do like to target companies that don't have a website, just so I can actually offer them the domain and then lock them in so they have to work with us long term. But again, if you do want to work with people that do have websites, literally just click all of these, find ones that look quite shit. And I know it's a bit rude, but obviously you want to filter through the ones that actually look good, because chances are they're not going to be impressed by you. For example, this website looks horrible. Even this one, Tomcat Roofing, the website itself doesn't even open, it's broken. So that's another example of a really, really good way to do this. So essentially I'd find someone that doesn't have a website and I'd simply give them a cold call with their phone number right here. Now this is a big misconception, and people think, well, I'm going to cold call them and offer the service to them on the phone. That's not what we do. What we actually do is we cold call them, we kind of pitch the idea. We say, look, we've actually drafted you up a demo site for completely free. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to commit to anything. Let me just take 5 minutes of your time and show you. Then you, of course, want to talk to the owner and just book in a Zoom call, a Google Meets call. Now, when you're actually on that call, that's where you're far more likely to actually be able to successfully close a client, because that trust is built and you can obviously show them a demo that took you less than 5 minutes to actually create. And again, guys, I want you to keep in mind just how much perceived value you're actually offering these local businesses. I mean, websites like this, if you're looking at this at face value, the majority of people in the kind of local business space honestly don't know much about design and website hosting as a whole. Like, this just looks like an insanely customized, a really nice and optimized website that nobody else in their competition and in their kind of IRL space really has. So you're giving them massive amounts of leverage. Now, another way you can kind of outreach is, of course, cold SMSing. Now, this doesn't work if you're messaging a number like plus 1300. This would be like a factory or an office number. You have to find like 04 numbers. Again, I'm based in Australia. For you guys in the US, it'd be like +1 numbers. Now you can cold SMS, but it's really not going to have a high conversion rate. And the only time you really want to do cold SMS is when you actually hired a VA, aka a virtual assistant, to actually kind of expand your company as a whole. Now, the last thing is, of course, Facebook groups and meta ads. Now, meta ads can be amazing post scale. We actually didn't start utilizing these until we hit $10,000 in MRR. But again, Facebook groups can be super interesting. And of course, finally, you have word of mouth, which would literally be you working with a company, it performs exceptionally well, and then they kind of recommend you to another local business that they might know. Now, this is what actually skyrocketed us and kind of put us past the point of being stuck at about 25K MRR and actually getting to that 48K mark. And that was hiring a VA, which I just spoke about. Now, a VA is essentially a virtual assistant, and there will come a point where you've reached out to so many agencies, you've got like $20,000 in recurring revenue, and it's really just not worth it for you to be dedicating your time to cold calling these local businesses every single day. And that's the point where you want to look into hiring a virtual assistant. Now, this is a big misconception. Yes, you can hire a virtual assistant from onlinejobs.ph. This is essentially where you can get really cheap Filipino people for like $1 an hour. And that's what all these YouTubers talk about, but it's a really dumb idea. Now, this only works if you're hiring a VA to not do something that requires talking on the phone. Because chances are a Filipino is not going to be able to sell as well as a Westerner, somebody that has a good accent that sounds like they're from a first world country. Now, the only time you want to use Filipinos is, for example, as I said before, if you're cold SMSing, if you're doing hard labor, if you want to hire someone to actually do the websites every time you sign a client, or if you want them to actually work with that client once you've signed them. Now, this is how we actually hire talent to have people actually call up for us. Now, that would be Upwork. Now, with Upwork, you can target specific demographics. So, for example, I run an Australian agency, so I target Australian workers on Upwork, and I essentially can see their portfolio. I can have sample calls with them. And eventually, once you've scaled to that 10, 20K a month mark, that's when you want to actually start looking for people to actually cold call for you that are from your local country, from your state. And again, make sure they have good experience. And now it comes to the point where you want to choose if you want to offer them an equity-based position or a commission-based position, right? So equity would be you give them a percentage of the sales that they bring you, and commission would be for every sale you bring us, you get $400, something like that. And again, I'm not going to lie, this is probably one of the biggest factors that really catapulted our agency, and I wish I knew this sooner. Now guys, again, if you want to work directly with me in scaling a agency, reaching out to local businesses and offering a website, you get one-on-one access to me, my exact templates, my website templates, my cold call emails, my scripts, everything. And of course, if you don't have 20 clients at the end of the 90 days at $197 a month, you get a complete refund, no questions asked. And again, if you guys want to join my public Discord server, that's discord.gg/mastermind. And guys, this is my 5th video on the channel. If you guys did learn something new and you want to stay in the loop, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below what you learned. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.